Namaskar. Good morning, good afternoon. We are here today with our very renowned guest speaker, Mrs. Nirmaladevi Kandasamy. She is here from Malaysia. Basically, she is a teacher, or I should say, she is a great teacher who has learning, exploring experience of around 22 years. She is an English language teacher, and on today's topic, we are going to discuss each and every small point, small doubt we are going to get clear from Nirmala Devi. Nirmala Devi, warm welcome here. Yes, so Nirmala Devi, ma'am, yes, so Nirmala Devi, ma'am, we are really very much happy and it's our immense pleasure to have you here. Ma'am, I would like to ask you when you have decided you want to be an English teacher. Like, see, many faculties are there. When we want to choose a profession, you can be the math teacher, you can be the computer teacher, or any other subject teacher. Then why you have chosen this? That only English you are going to teach your student.
Thank you so much, Ramkumari ma'am and Mr. Ravi, for inviting me to this session. It is indeed a great pleasure to meet all of you, the audience from India and also around the globe joining this program. So, ma'am, as you asked the question, why do I choose the profession as a teacher, especially English language teacher? Well, I have passion for learning language, especially English language. And from young, my mother tongue is Tamil, so my parents used to talk Tamil in the house, and I strive for excellence in order to learn English language from school. And I had a good teacher. My teacher used to be a Chinese teacher because Malaysia is a multiracial country. So I was taught by a Chinese teacher by the name Miss Chu, and she encouraged all of us to speak English regardless of our grammatical errors. So that was my turning point in fall in love for English language learning at the age of from 7 years old. And my teacher was teaching me when I was 10 years old. So after decades, I realized that my passion is teaching English language. And I always remember my role model teacher, Miss Chu, for encouraging me among with the other friends in order to learn English. And she was such a dedicated teacher. And I would say that she goes beyond, she travels miles to teach us English language at that point of time. So that was the turning point for me to start loving to learn English, especially from my teacher. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. And it's a really, very nice feeling when a teacher remember their teacher.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Ma'am, means we want to hear, listen from you. What activities do you need to plan in class for teaching, speaking, and listening skills?
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for that question. Actually, the topic is important with learning English language in global education. So we are focusing more on listening and speaking skills. So as you know, being a teacher, we need to do planning. Our lesson planning is the most important part we need to do in order to engage the students in variety of activities. So that is number one. Rule number one, where the lesson planning is very important. Next, how we are going to execute, you need to prepare the materials, the activities are related, the teaching materials, whatever that you are going to use in the class. Either it's going to be digital tools or it's going to be hands-on experiment for the students. So when talk about listening and speaking, those are the skills that I really pay attention in my classes almost every day, despite of teaching other skills as well. But this skill is considered, well, these two skills are very important to make sure that our learners learn to listen, they have the patience in listening, and they are able to articulate whatever we are saying and able to speak English. So being a second language teacher in Malaysia, English is regarded as a second language. So I always pay emphasis in getting them to listen to songs, watch movies, watching cartoons. These are some of the examples I'm giving. So by listening to songs, the students are able to follow the lyrics, they are able to sing the songs, and automatically the grammatical rules will be there, learning of the words will be there, and also the learning of sentence patterns will be there. These are the some of the examples I can give. They love listening to songs. So I get them to listen to songs, and after that I get them to write the lyrics, memorize the lyrics, and then eventually I noticed that my students, they have fond in learning English language, especially by listening to songs. That's very interesting for them. So even I'm teaching other skills in the classrooms as well, but I notice my students sometimes they'll request for me to play the songs. Like the latest one is what something to do with El Canto. That's the students movie, by the name of Encanto. So they love to hear to the songs of what is being shown in that particular movie. So I used to play for them, and they enjoy listening to songs in order to engage them in listening and speaking tasks. Yes.
That's really great. If we got the chance to listen music in the classroom, then why to go outside from the classroom?
Yes, exactly.
And ma'am, how students react with this? How they found this in learning English? Uh, does they feel that this is easy to learn because it being a second language? How the
they
students'
it,
reaction? Are they interested to
okay,
learn?
they are interested to learn depending on the language ability, language proficiency. For example, I have students who are higher level in language proficiency, average level, and also low level proficiency. So I have to tone down the difficulty level of the task by giving them according to their language, according to their proficiency levels. So normally what I'll do is that I'll segregate them into groups. I mix the mixed ability group students, I will mix them in the separate groups, and so that the good ones will be able to help the weak ones, the weak one will get help from the average ones and also good ones, and eventually they will try to do the activities given to them. Because we the educators, we are the facilitators, they are the doers. So due to that, we need to guide them in order for them. Usually I elect the, let's say, I say group leaders, assistant group leaders, in order to control the group. So these students will be able to help one another in order to complete the task. So meaning to say, if let's say listening tasks involved, I get them to listen to songs or any text pertaining to the task they are going to complete. Once or twice I'll get them to listen, and after that they will be answering the questions, and they take the correct answers, matching or fill in the missing words, missing blanks, something like that. So for the smart students, it's quite easy. They will actually try to comprehend very fast. But for the weak ones, I have to replay the audios again and again in order for them to understand. And the helpers are in the group itself for them to help one another in order to complete the task. So these are the helping assistance that I give to my students in order to complete the task, rather than chalk and talk, asking them to do, giving them direct answers and all that. And most importantly, we need to allow sometimes for the students to comprehend the questions, either by listening, reading, and give them some time to think. Because second language learners, they have filters. If you in English language learning, we have theories from, let's say, for example, Stephen Krashen. He said that there are filters for the students to filter from L1 language, their first language, to the second language. For example, our first language in Malaysia is our formal Malay language. So let's say the students are filtering that information. What is your name? Example, that is a question. I'm giving you the simple one. So maybe some students, they might not understand what is that. So they have dictionaries, so they will translate, they have the translation from English to Malay. So what did the bilingual dictionary? So what is your name? So maybe what is Your, they might know name. Example, I'm just giving a simple wild example. So they might know name is nama in Bahasa Malaysia, in our Malay language. So they'll say, what is your name? They might have processed it in their first language. Then they will have to transfer that into the second language. It will take some time. So we as teachers, we need to be very patient in order to give them the time to understand, to digest that information first before extracting information answer from them. Sometimes we are impatient. We want to finish very fast. We ask them, what is your name? And before they could answer, my name, we tend to be very fast in moving. Things happen because you are facing real classroom situation with large number of students, right? So we need to understand the questioning strategy and time for the students to answer. Yes, that's it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us this very easy example so we all can understand what is your name. Ma'am, my next question is, have you encountered uh, any problem when it comes to teaching, listening, and speaking activities? If yes, how do you overcome it?
Okay, yes, the problems may arise depending on the level of proficiency of the students, and we are handling large number of students, let's say 25 to 35 students. But how do we overcome is that we break them into groups, assign group leaders, assistant leaders, and a person to control the noise of the class, a person to write down information. So we assign roles for the students in the group, and after that you get the students to listen to the audios as a whole class. Then after that you give instructions for the students. Then you distribute the worksheets for them. Okay, make them understand their roles, what they're supposed to do, and repeatedly explain to them. Train the leaders, the assistant leaders in the classroom, in the groups, for them to understand, so that they will be able to help the 10-15 minutes group work for the weak students. So that will be very much helpful, because as a teacher you can facilitate them. You won't have that 1 hour is not enough for you to go through the whole go through for each and every student in order for them to know how to do. So if you assign group work and train the leaders, assistant leaders of the particular groups, then it will be much easier. Sometimes students, they understand repeatedly explaining to them. So the help of other students are very much needed, actually. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, now we want to know how do you cater to each level of students in one class when teaching, listening, and what type of activities do you need in your listening class?
Okay, so it's a very good question, ma'am. As I said, I have mixed ability students, and I don't separate the good ones, the average ones, and the weak ones separately. I mix them in each group. They are going to be, let's say I have 6 groups. In each of the groups, I have the mixed ability students, because I want my students to learn from one another. As I said earlier, I use songs, let them listen to songs, and then write the lyrics. Or and then the task will be, I give them the lyrics with empty blanks, and then they listen the second time and they write the words. For example, twinkle twinkle little star, maybe the star will be and they have to fill in the word star. First time they listen, the next time distribute the worksheet, and then the next time the second time listening, after they listen, they will write down twinkle twinkle, star, little star. They have to write, maybe not too many blanks, maybe 5 blanks that I want to test related to noun. So I may have 5 blanks related to noun. Okay, we must have focus in what we are planning. Okay, you cannot give jumbled up everything and it will confuse the learners. So if, let's say, you're focusing on noun on that day, so you just focus on stars, words like related to nouns, example I'm telling. And I use also movie short clips. Let's say I know in our CFR, meaning to say in our primary school syllabus, we are following the CFR UK based textbook. So the settings are not local settings. It is based on global settings, UK settings. So due to that, they have some challenges in understanding the storyline or in the audio or the name itself because of the foreign setting. All right. So the name is very they might, might be able to, they might not be able to catch the foreign setting. So due to that, I have to play a few times, and I take some, let's say for example, there's one topic about the tallest man in the world. So if I straight away give that particular passage for the students to read, they might feel that it's a bit difficult for them to follow. They might not have read about the tallest man on earth or something like that. So I take a short video clip, like 2 minutes clip or 3 minutes clips, and let them to see that particular short movie. And after they've watched that clip, then I will ask a few questions. Okay, then after that, I get them to listen to the text about the tallest man. So this kind of help I offer them before I engage them in that real situation of listening related to the syllabus. Usually, I will follow the syllabus given by Ministry of Education of Malaysia because that is what we are told to do. But apart from that, these video clips embedding and also taking them out of the classroom to travel virtually, blah blah blah, to listen and all that, for engaging them in listening and speaking activities will be an advantage for them. Yes, this is what I do.
That's a great, man. That means you have blended learning here. You are
Yes,
using government syllabus and you are adding your own experiences into that. That's a great,
yes,
man.
exactly.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
I'm curious to know. Here I'm curious to know, like, see, after COVID, we all are become techno savvy. We are using different kinds of tools because we have technology in our hand. But what about before COVID? How you were using technology in your curriculum?
That's a very good question. I would say this COVID-19 pandemic is like blessings in disguise, where, as you know, ma'am, I've been teaching for 22 years. But for the past 5 years, right before the pandemic, I joined this Microsoft community where I learned about the usage of Microsoft tools. For example, the use of course, the basic use of Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, all of us know, right? But beyond that, the use of how to use Kahoot, Bunsy, Sway, Minecraft, and few other tools, related to Microsoft technology. I'm not talking about Google technology. I do embed Google technologies as tools as well. But I'm talking about 5 years back before the pandemic, where I've joined this community and I learned and I've tried my very best to use technology like Flipgrid, so that my students are able to use Flipgrid in order to record their own voices. Let's say I ask them to do something to do with, let's say I ask them to take a used box and I ask them to create something out of nothing using the used materials. So let's say my student have created a coin box. So what do I do is that I ask my student to take some photos of the processes of making from zero to something, and then I ask my students to record a short video and upload in an app called Flipgrid. I'll either go to Flipgrid straight away, write the script, and then record it something like this live, and then they can add some emojis and backgrounds, blah blah blah, and in order to create that particular 30 seconds to 1 minute video is up to them. So my students from there, they are able to explain what they introduce themselves, and then what they're able to do, what materials they have used, and how sustainable they are in caring for Mother Earth, and also combating climate change. And at the same time, telling the use of this coin box, where I'm also inculcating the use of the information in the textbook, which is inculcating saving habits among them. So I'm using this blended learning in order to engage them so they are able to say something. So ultimately, they're able to listen, they're able to say something in English language. So I can't be assessing all my students in the classroom, right? So what do? I make use of this digital tool, prior to pandemic, even pandemic, in order to upload these videos for them, for me to access during my free time, because we have classroom assessments as well, apart from the summative and formative assessment. So before the COVID, I was using technology, but I will use only when I need to use, right? I need to have the purpose of using the technology tools. But during pandemic, it has been like activated, the use of tools had been activated, multiplicated. So I've been using excessively. And now I'm using hybrid learning, hybrid teaching, where the students are learning in the classroom. At the same time, I have platforms like Microsoft Teams in order for me to create the classrooms for them, in order to upload the materials, their videos, anything related to listening, speaking, reading, and writing, so that they are able to upload their materials and learn from one another. So using technology tools, it actually started for me 5 years back when I joined this Microsoft community. Yes.
That's a great, ma'am. And I know that you are awarded for that this also.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, that's a great. Ma'am, my next question is, what type of activities do you do in speaking class?
Okay, speaking class, like what I mentioned earlier, I used to get my students record offline and all that. But in the classroom, what I'll do is that sometimes there was once I mean there is a passage in the question in the textbook related to how tiger gets its stripes. So what I do is that I get them to listen to the text, and then I ask them WH questions in order to strengthen their understanding. After that, the next lesson, what do I do? What I did was I asked them to bring the hardboard, the cardboard. Like we call this in Malaysia, we call it Manila cards. Manila cards are the thick cards, something like this. They are thick cards, something like this, uh, something like this. Okay. So using this thick card, they brought and then they brought this card, and then I asked them to cut out like according to the characters, the character of the farmer, the tiger, and the buffalo, and also the plants, something like that. Which character do they choose? So I assigned group by group. So in a group, I got to see a tiger mask, farmer mask, plants, and also buffalo. So that is the first part. The second part is from the text, I asked them to write dialogues, simple dialogues like 5 or 10 exchanges. So once they have written, I correct their grammatical errors. And after that, I leave it to them to practice the role play. How do they want to act it out in the classroom? So I gave them time, ample of time to practice. And next, after few lessons, I get them to do role play good one after another. So I get to see them speaking using English language, exchanging the dialogues expressively, creatively, in fun, meaningful ways. So, role playing is one of the activities that I usually do in the classroom. Though it takes time, it needs a lot of planning, but you let the students to do. You don't spoon feed them by giving the dialogues. Let them come up with the dialogues, let them practice, let them feel the fun and enjoyment of being a tiger, showing the fierceness, being a buffalo, okay, being the farmer, things like that. Let them be creative, thinking about the setting, thinking about the characters, the sound of the animals. So it was fun. Yeah, I love doing role playing. Yes, that's one of the activities that I do in the classroom. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, are you there? I think ma'am lost the connectivity. So there are many activities as educators we can do. So one of that I told just now is that let's recap songs. Second, like asking the students to watch movies and then write a book review about the movie and talk about it, or make like a movie trailer, meaning to say get them to understand about the movie, and then they will come up with a short trailer, teaser, something like teaser, in order to for them to understand the whole thing of what is happening in the movie, and then they can come up with like short video clip. Okay, and also product review. For example, if let's say, why do they choose this handphone? If they buy a new, okay, you can give a task like, for example, let's say you are looking for a product, you need to give review of a product that you bought recently for others to buy, example. So ask them to choose a product, example, let's say they choose to buy a handphone, and then they can talk about it. Okay, they can show the handphone and talk about it. Where did they buy it? How much is it worth buying? Talk about the features, something like that. So product review also is good for listening and speaking. Welcome back, ma'am. I was just talking about some other ways how to engage listening and speaking, like doing a movie trailer, like a teaser video, or doing product review videos in order to engage the students for listening. 21st century learners, they love making videos. Okay, they are YouTubers nowadays. So they have their own YouTube channel and all that, so they can come up with product reviews, to give reviews about certain products in order to engage them in listening and speaking. Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, Ramkumari, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Ma'am, we want to, yeah, we want your how you want to give advice for the other educators, how they have to teach to their students.
Okay, it's a very good question, ma'am. As you know, today is a very it's a sharing session, so I hope some of the educators who are joining in to on this YouTube channel, they give some ideas as well. Perhaps you can show to me later the screenshots, ma'am. I would appreciate that to learn from others as well, because being a teacher is I would say that every day we have to learn. We have to read like educational journals, join webinars, talks, because things are changing every day. So we cannot be thinking of one particular thing that the idea, the methodology that we learn, the pedagogical skills that we learn from the college like 20 years back, 25 years back, will be the same as now. As you know, the students are more IT savvy. They are, living in this 21st century. So we need to engage them with technology. So technology tools, they are available like Flipgrid, like so many technology tools related to you that you can use for listening and speaking. I normally use Flipgrid because I find that it's very easy to use and easy to access my students. And then whatever projects you're doing, you keep them not in your Google Drive or OneDrive. Create platforms like Wakelet or Padlet. Padlet is very easy to use. Wakelet also easy to use. So you create a sub collection. For example, okay, project number one is about recycling, dated today. Okay, so you get your students' projects all uploaded there. And then you give the unlisted access to your students and also parents for them to revisit, okay, what they have done, okay, and how they can improvise what the child has done, and the parents can view and also help the child to overcome the difficulties, because during pandemic parents help, they really help the children in order to complete the projects as well. So we are very thankful to the parents as well in order to helping their children in learning and completing the work. So that is one. Don't keep in that Google Drive or OneDrive only. Just upload them in Padlet or Wakelet so that your work is updated there, and you know what you have been doing last week, yesterday, or even last month, or even last year. So all the projects are there. So in case you need to show for the new students, new class batch of students, you can always show on the link, share screen, just go to the platform, share the screen, and you can show them. Okay. And secondly, if can, try to have your own projector. Yeah, I'm sure you have your own laptop and speaker, so invest little bit of money in order to buy these gadgets, so that when you are in the classroom, just forget about complaining that the classroom is not equipped with projector, the classroom is not equipped with speakers. So at least you have a basket where in that basket you have the projector, you have the speakers, the connecting wires, and also you have the laptop and your pen drive. So one, and also internet connectivity from your own hotspot. So once you have that, you will feel the blast of teaching. So though my school provides all this, but I personally invested some money, a few thousand ringgit. I invested, I bought these few gadgets. I bring the basket to all the classes that I go. I have the basket, but it's downstairs in my room, the other room. So otherwise, I can show you. So I bring that basket every day. The basket that you bring to the market, to buy the marketing stuff. You put. So I have that basket. So I put everything inside there, and I bring to all my classes. So I fix my projector to my laptop speakers in just about 3 minutes to fix it, and I have a connecting wire. Of course, you need to invest some money, just few ringgit. And once you have that, you can project anything for your students, because I notice my students, elementary school students, they're very much interested in listening to songs. They're very much interested to see any movie clips before I start the lesson related to the subject, related to the topic that I'm going to teach. So we need to invest something in order to get the outcome and also satisfaction in our teaching. So that is the second rule. Third is, do not stop learning. Join webinars, workshops in order to learn from one another. And then once you learn, don't keep it yourself. Apart from teaching your friend, your students, you need to share with your panel teachers, English language panel teachers of your school. Share whatever you have learned. Whether they are following or not is up to them, because everybody, we have genius in ourselves. So that genius will definitely help us one in another way. So once you share with your friends, so more people will get benefits. So after that, don't forget to share with in your district, in your country, and also in global platforms. So, and most importantly, remember, our students are our client. Whatever we do must be based and must give benefit for our students. They are our client. Our core business is teaching in the classroom. So we need to pay attention in teaching in the classrooms, and also make sure that they learn in fun, interesting ways. In my classroom, apart from achieving the objectives that I plan according to the lesson plan, what is most important is that happiness. I want my students to be happy in my classroom, and that is the real answer in the success of my teaching. For what I am today is because I create happiness among my students for them to learn. So once you create happiness, they will feel so happy to learn, and they will find fun out of your teaching. So these are some of the secrets that I share with you today. That's all from me, ma'am. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And really, this is a wonderful and valuable tip for everybody to create happiness in the classroom.
Indeed,
Thank you so
very
much,
true,
ma'am,
ma'am.
for
Happiness is very important. Thank you
yeah.
very much,
Thank you so much,
Ramkumari,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much for
Ramkumari, ma'am, Mr.
accepting our
Ravi, sir.
invitation.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much. Yes, thank you once again, Ramkumari, ma'am, Mr. Ravi, sir, from TNB, for inviting me. And in Malaysia, we say Selamat Tinggal, means goodbye. Until we meet again.